Hello and welcome to the October Show Low Unified School District School Board meeting and to homecoming week. I know they're busy at the high school. I have a couple. Happy birthday to Susie Jaramillo and to our board secretary, Kelly Boyer. We need to do a call to order. I will do the Pledge of Allegiance. The invocation is going to be done by Joy, and then we'll do approval of the board agenda.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our kind and gracious Father in heaven, we're grateful unto Thee for the bounties of life that Thou hast blessed us with, for the privilege we have in living in this area where we have the beautiful mountains and community that we live in. We'd ask that Thy Spirit be with us through this meeting tonight, that we'll be able to discuss and accomplish the things that need to be done. Accept of our thanks and be with us, we humbly pray. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen. Can I have a motion for approval of the board agenda?
I so move.
I second the motion.
I have a motion and a second for approval of agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 1.2, call to the audience. Mrs. Boyer, do we have any? All right. My favorite. Item 1.3, recognition of monthly legendary faculty of the month. And Mr. Housey would like us board members to go down front while he reads and presents so that we can take a picture.
Perfect. And while the board's going down there, just want to kind of give you an idea of what this is. Each month from this point on, we're going to work really hard to recognize what we call and consider legendary faculty. And these are individuals who have gone over and above for the school district or in their job performance or other things that we'd like to recognize that special effort. And tonight we like to recognize three individuals, and we'll ask them to come up as I read. And first recognize one that wasn't able to be here, and we'll just recognize him. And this individual is Mr. Carl Gross. He works at the junior high. He was given the RISE recognition for September at Show Low Junior High School. He is a classified staff who takes on teaching duties and always goes over and above. He does extra duties, helps with technology, sets up Google accounts for students, and gives professional development on Google Classroom for teachers. Helped write a robotics grant that we were awarded, designs and preps certificates, hosts study hall and chess during lunch, and is co-sponsoring our science club. He's a true educator with heart, who is always more than willing to give to the students, staff, and our school, never expecting anything in return, a sign of a true leader, and we'd like to recognize Mr. Carl Gross for his efforts. So. Our second individual, I'd like to ask her to go ahead and come up, and that's Mrs. Christine Rumses. I'm going to have Mrs. Jaramillo talk a little bit about Mrs. Rumses and what she's done for this school. Actually, I will go ahead and do that so she can take her picture. Okay. There you go. Mrs. Rumses is recognized. She, along with Mrs. Becky Clark, co-wrote a grant through the Dollar General, and they won that grant to help provide library resources and books grant. It's a $3,000 award, and we appreciate her efforts in that, in bringing that grant to our school. So thank you, Ms. Rumses. Our next legendary staff member for the month is Ms. Caitlin O'Connell, and we'd like to invite her and Mr. Adams to go ahead and come on up. Ms. O'Connell is being recognized this year. She was recognized by fellow staff members for her effort in going over and above to help organize NHS activities in her service to bring the blood drive to our high school and our school district. She is recognized for that success in bringing an NHS tutoring program also to the high school. So thank you, Mrs. O'Connell. We do have certificates here for those. If you wouldn't mind coming up and get those. I know some of you have other activities that you have to get to, so.
Go homecoming week. Thank you, Mr. Housley. Item 1.4, superintendent report. Mr. Housley.
It's been a busy week. We have homecoming and a whole bunch of other things coming up. I just wanted to report that the administrative team took some time this week and sat down and reviewed our progress towards our goals and spent a good lengthy time discussing the good things that happen. And there's a lot of good happening in our district right now, which we can celebrate. And then we also talked about those things that we need to improve in. And so we're preparing and ramping up to go into fall break and have some things that we want to accomplish in the next 9 weeks, and we're excited about that. So that's my report for this evening.
Thank you. Fantastic, thank you. And I hope everyone has a safe fall break for those of you who will be traveling, and that you return to us all in one piece and everyone returns safely. Item 1.5, approval of superintendent goals. Mr. Housley. There.
So as you see, we initially had developed some headings for goals. These are in line with the goals that we presented at last board meeting with some action items, some action steps. First goal for myself would be to improve student achievement, and this is in line with our district goals, and so are the action steps with that. Improve communication within the community, and some things that I've been asked to do and is to really value the relationships between the school district, our staff, the professional growth of our staff, success for students, and other things within the community. And so it's to show those schools will build a culture focused on inclusivity, timely two-way communication, trust, and professionalism. And so then there's some things there as far as action items, work with stakeholders to develop customer service focus. We'll conduct continuing evaluations on communications and for positive language. We'll create and publish a quarterly newsletter that's going to be distributed to the staff and community. I will be working with principals to encourage regular positive contributions to local publications, including our social media and our newspaper and other things online. And in end of January, sometime in February, first part of February, I will be putting together a State of the School event where we will bring in stakeholders from the community to talk about the state of our school district. The next goal would be to be highly visible and focused on improving staff relations, and some of those things is I'm going to try to start the school day at different sites throughout the month. work with the principal and myself to go in and be a part of classrooms, get to know the kids and see the good things that are going on in classrooms. Attend athletic events, performing arts, and extracurricular events on a regular basis. Attend professional development meetings and participate with the staff as we offer professional development, participate with them in those discussions. The next goal would be to collect, analyze, and utilize student achievement data to drive and improve instruction. Evaluation of curriculum and resources. We're starting to evaluate our data and the sources from where that comes, look for effectiveness and validity. Making sure that we're utilizing multiple data sources to make decisions. And then we're looking to improve processes for collecting, evaluating, and utilizing data, and trying to build consistent frameworks in our processes as far as student achievement is concerned. Finally, the last piece is to evaluate district curriculum and make recommendations for improvement to the board. Here shortly, probably in November, I will present to you my 100-day report. That'll be an overview of my observations over the first 100 days on the job. We'll oversee the implementation of the teacher cadre, which is under development currently. We'll present plans to the board outlining recommendations to improvements to curriculum, instructional practices, and resources prior to February. So that's our goal, to get that done by February, and outline to the board a timeline for implementation of new curricular guides, professional learning, and acquisition of resources. So those are my goals as presented. It's my hope that you would recommend, or you would approve those for me, so we've already started working on them, but just to continue working in that way, and any feedback on them would be greatly appreciated.
I think that you have already started moving toward those goals in lots of ways. One, I want to make sure I point out so that the appreciation goes out to our technology staff, and that's the updating of our website. I just can't thank you enough for moving that forward and getting that done. And there's several other things. So having said that, I need a motion to approve the superintendent goals.
I make a motion for the approval of superintendent goals.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the superintendent goals. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 1.6, future board agenda items.
None for me.
Everything.
Wonderful. Item 2.1, update of Arizona Department of Education certificate. Mr. Housley.
Mrs. Clark was going to be here. She's in Albuquerque tonight at an AP conference, so she couldn't be here. So I'll present this for her and just briefly want to share with you this, along with other things the state is pushing forward with, could adversely affect some of our programs and our teachers in particular. In this case, there is with the leaving of No Child Left Behind and the implementation of the Every Student Succeeds Act, there's some changes that are coming up. And in the past, there's been highly qualified and appropriately certified as criteria for teachers. They've combined that into one category now. Mrs. Clark and myself and the administrative team are looking at what that's going to mean to our teachers and our staff, but we did want to bring that to the board this evening just to give you a heads up, to give the community a heads up that there are some things on the horizon that could adversely affect the way we do business with our teachers right now. So we're hoping that it's a positive thing and not a negative thing.
Not a negative.
That's yet to be determined. So.
All right. Item 2.2, approval of Navajo County Drug Project to bring Empowered program to junior high for the 2016-2017 school year. Mr. Housley.
I'm going to turn some time over to Dr. Dorsett, and she's brought a guest to kind of explain this program to us.
Good evening, board members. I would like to welcome Vicki Solomon from the Navajo County Drug Project up to the stage so we can discuss what Empowered is. So if you come up, Vicki. So just a brief overview. Empowered is a program given by the Navajo County Drug Project. It goes over listening and letting go, healthy decisions, depression, abusive relationships, ADD and ADHD, anger, anxiety and stress, addictive and negative behavior, grief, and the power of one. It is based on the 12-step program and also infuses the 7 habits of highly effective people. It would be a program where Ms. Solomon would come in and through a group of identified kids with parent permission, she would work with them through their curriculum. She is qualified to teach. It would be parental permission, and it would be some identified kids that struggle with some of these issues. She is currently doing it at Blue Ridge at the high school and the junior high with some great success. And just a couple weeks ago, I went to a Safe Schools training, and this is one of the programs that they recommended to be in schools to help support behavioral issues. So I brought Vicki along though, so if you have questions, she has the most expertise to offer.
I just have one, and that is, when would the course be taught?
It would be on Thursdays, and what we would do is we would pull the kids out of class, but rotate the class periods so they're not being pulled out of the same class every week.
Thursday.
Yeah. Do you have anything else to add?
It's a phenomenal program.
Move to the mic because we are recorded.
Sorry.
That's okay.
So it's a phenomenal program. In addition to what she talked about, what we cover, one of the things that I love to focus on is the youth, and they are our futures. If they learn how to be good leaders and they feel that empowerment, then they're going to be more apt to make wiser decisions. So this program not only helps maybe kids that are struggling, but even, kids that don't think that they're struggling, it teaches them how to be leaders. So whatever group that I get, each one of them are unique. And once I get to know the group, then we give them something that's going to make them better. And so I love the empowerment. It teaches the kids how to be empowered and make wise decisions. So I just wanted to add that little bit as well.
Any further discussion? So I need a motion for,
You want a motion? I so move that we approve the drug program as outlined.
Second.
so I have a motion and a second to approve the Navajo County Drug Project to bring Empowered to the junior high for the 2016-17 school year. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank
Item
you very much.
2.3, you're welcome. Item 2.3, approval of overnight and out-of-state travel. Mr. Housley.
We have 3 items on our overnight and out-of-state travel. 2 of them I want to talk about first is number 1 and number 3 on your agenda. You'll notice the dates on those have already passed, and we're bringing those to you a little bit late because of a couple of things. The first one is Mr. Adams has a request to approve the trip for FCCLA Leadership Camp in Prescott. That was the 29th of September through October 1st. And there was just a mix-up in paperwork. I think it got routed to the student council where it sat for a few weeks before it got rerouted to us. So we made that correction, but it was a few days before they had to go on the trip. So we went ahead and let them go to that, and I believe they had a great time with that. The other one was, I'm sorry, it wasn't 3, it was number 2. Dr. Dorsett's requested approval for 2 students and chaperones to attend the Chief Science Officer Institute in Tempe, and this came on us really quickly. It was something that our students qualified for and then needed to go to from the decision when they got the availability to do it to the time they had to go was very short timeline. And so these students actually went down September 30th through October 2nd, had a great time learning science skills and how to be chief science officers to hopefully be able to, from a youth perspective, be leaders in our area to help bring STEM and other things to the youth of the area, and they can lead out from a youth leadership point of view along with the adult leaders as we move forward. So they had a great time in that. I believe I was told Dr. Dorsett said it was hard to pull the kids away. The chaperones were like, we got to go back. And
We gotta
they
go.
wanted,
Get
they
in.
wanted to stay there. Mr. Adams is also requesting approval of for the travel club under the leadership of Nikki Muzzerall to travel to Costa Rica the month of June 11th, from June 11th through the 16th in 2017. This is sponsored through World Strides, which is an organization she worked with in the past. They handle all the accommodations that will cost about $3,000 per student that goes, and that's a student responsibility. Those who want to go on that trip would fundraise and collect that money themselves. They'll fundraise, use tax credits for the trip, and there's some more information that was provided in your board packets. But I would recommend that we approve these trips as outlined.
I make a motion for approval of overnight and out-of-state travel as listed.
Second.
I'm glad to see that we have a teacher that's using World Stride and taking our kids on another travel opportunity. That's amazing. So we have a motion and a second to approve overnight and out-of-state travel. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. I believe that's all the threes, right? Approval, and item 3.1, approval of resignations. Mr. Housley.
We have just a couple resignations. Mr. Tom Iverson has worked as a maintenance worker in our district for a lot of years. He cited some personal needs to move down in the valley to take care of some personal things, and we wish him all the best and he, in his next aspects of his life. We also have Miss Shirley Galbraith, who's our information system director, has qualified for retirement, and she's going to be retiring, and her final day will be December 2nd, I believe. So those two resignations, and then we had one, Miss Jessica Latherback, a teacher assistant. So I recommend that we approve these resignations.
I
Second.
approve the resignations as presented.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the resignations. Any further discussion? I would like to say a huge thank you to Shirley Galbraith for the years that she's put in the district and the friendship that she offered to me and all the assistance that she has given to many, many, many teachers over those years. And congratulations on your retirement, Shirley. So all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 3.2, approval of new hires.
The following new hires, we have Ginger Bishop as the Whipple Ranch food service worker, Janelle Trantham as a Whipple Ranch special education teacher, and this is the position that you approved at the last board meeting. Nicole Evans is Whipple Ranch second grade teacher. For your information, we had long-term substitutes in the second grade classroom. We found a highly qualified professional to go in that classroom, so we've moved in that direction, and that would be Mrs. Evans. And then Jennifer Cabrera, a high school teacher assistant. And I recommend that we approve these hires as outlined.
I make a motion for approval of new hires as outlined.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve new hires. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Approval of certified and classified substitutes.
We have Sarah Watkins as a substitute K-12 and Amy Taylor as a food service worker, and I recommend that we approve these individuals.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve certified and classified substitutes. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 3.4, approval of stipends and volunteers.
We have several more that came up. We have Randy Reisdorf for summer work. Alexandra Dietering has the Whipple Ranch Tech Buddy. Amberlyn Power as the junior high head volleyball coach. And Marianne Dunlap as the junior high assistant volleyball coach. As volunteers, Darcy Healy as the junior high assistant volleyball coach. Marianne Wallentine as the junior high assistant volleyball coach. And Tasha Maxwell as the junior high assistant volleyball coach. As event workers, Julie Lewis, Cassie Kelly, and Jennifer Cabrera. I recommend that we approve these stipends and volunteers.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the stipends and volunteers. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 4.1, approving of second viewing and adoption of policy advisory number 559, weapons in schools. So did we get a,
This policy had been on our agenda last month, and we pulled it off because there was a concern mostly in one of the paragraphs. As I reviewed it and talked with other superintendents, that paragraph that we had concern, it's actually the language in the law. So there wasn't much to change. There's not much concern. I don't see much of a concern. So I just think that we ought to go ahead and I'll recommend approval of that as part of our policy manual.
and then if the Supreme Court case changes it, they'll
If
change the policy
something
anyway?
changes, we'll make an amendment
We'll make
to our
amendment,
policy.
okay. All right.
I so move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the second viewing and reading of policy 559, weapons in school. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 5.1, Mr. Schubert.
Well, it's that time of year again where we have to approve our annual financial report. So what I have done at the request of the community, because the community in the past has really liked our presentations that we give when we're putting together the budget. So I went ahead and threw together a quick little presentation giving some highlights of our annual financial report. So I'd like to go ahead and just kind of run through those real quick if we could. There we go. And hopefully we didn't do too many animations this time. And so here is our breakdown of revenues. This is all the money that we received over the course of the year. So you can see what we've received, and I broke it down into M&O, capital, and our debt service, which are our three biggest pots of money. Our local taxes from the folks here in the great city of Show Low provided $7,454,417 that went to our M&O budget, $91,113 that went to capital, and $903,951 went to debt service. Just as a quick overview as to what debt service is, this is what pays for all of our interest and our bond payments. So our bonds are soon to be retired, so that figure will go away soon. The next line on that is what we get from the county. So the county provided $279,803 in M&O, $4,041 in capital, and nothing for debt service. Our state aid and our state equalization payments came to $6,072,916. Our capital money from state aid and state equalization came to $73,899. Our federal dollars, this is the dollars that we receive from federal grants and our food service program. We received $1,402,339. So that is a grand total of, I didn't put the grand total on there. But you can see what the figures there at the bottom, it tells you exactly what we received in each of those categories. So now that we've told you how much money we got, let's tell you how much money we spent. So out of our M&O budget on regular education, we spent $9,530,075. In capital, we spent $216,525, and our debt service, that was the entire $903,951. Special education, we spent $1,626,739 out of M&O and $937 in capital. Transportation, we spent $912,328 out of M&O and $23,782 out of capital. I put a little asterisk down there on the totals for capital. In order to spend that much money in capital, we had to do a transfer out of our M&O account, and that's just goes to the state not funding capital the way it should be. So I just wanted to kind of put that little disclaimer on there when they seen that the budget was 163 and we spent 241. So if you break it down as to what we spent in classrooms, every year the Auditor General's Office puts out a classroom spending report. So this is kind of giving you an idea prior to that report coming out as to our dollars actually spent in the classrooms. We had a total of $16,523,723 in revenues, and that is all the way from the local agencies up to the federal. We spent $9,619,000 of that, $777 of that was strictly straight into education. Okay, so that went into everything from teacher salaries to classroom supplies and et cetera. There was another $4,772,972 spent on classroom support. So that's going to be social workers and the such. So everything else that would go into classroom spending, which left us with $2,130,974 that did not go towards the educational process. And finally, the Arizona Tax Credit Program is still up and running. They have made a slight change to the program. You can donate up until tax day and have it go to either this year or the next year's taxes. You can donate up to $400 for a married couple or $200 singly. If you have any questions about the tax credit program, please contact our office. Ms. Kelly Boyer or Ms. Tanya Steinhoff would be more than happy to talk with you about that program. And that is my high-level overview of our AFR.
Very nice. And they don't have to donate all the money at once, do
No, they do not have to donate it all at once.
So having said that, thank you very much, Mr. Schubert.
You're very welcome.
I need a motion for approval of the 2015-16 Annual Financial Report.
So moved.
Second the motion?
So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I just want to comment that I'm very happy that it's not in red, a government agency. We should be complimented.
We're local government, sir, not federal.
Thank you.
Question.
So I have a motion and a second to approve the 15-16 annual budget. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 6.0, consent agenda. Mr. Schubert.
All righty, well, I don't have a presentation made up for this one, so we'll just go ahead and go on through it if you don't mind.
Don't mind at all.
Okay, so tonight before you for our consent agenda, we are bringing to you the ratification of our expense and payroll vouchers, ratification of our junior high and high school activity revenues and expenditures, approval of the governing board minutes for our special meeting on September 1st and a regular meeting on September 15th. Also bringing before you the authorization of transfers of funds as requested by site administrators and approval of the following donations. Mr. Mark Emke donated a snare drum and stand to the Show High School Band Department valued at $850. And as mentioned earlier, Dollar General Literacy Foundation for the library donated $3,000 to Whipple Ranch Elementary. With that, I look for your approval on these consent agenda items.
Make a motion for approval on the consent agenda items.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to approve consent agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And our favorite one, adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
Second the
So I
motion?
have a motion and a second to adjourn. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, everyone, and have a happy, safe Halloween. We will see you next month.